Ladies and gentlemen,
Isn't a fan
ladies and
of Khalil
gentlemen,
Rountree Jr.
like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and please follow me on Rumble. I'm trying to start a channel to grow a channel on Rumble. I return videos every Monday and Thursday at 4:30. I also podcast a Christian video on top of two MMA videos. What are we going to do with Tom Aspinall? Tom Aspinall is just mowing through the whole heavyweight division without any chance. Then you have here at the other end of the spectrum, John Jones, who has mowed down the division for two decades straight. What do we do with him? He said before this fight was ever made, before Tom Aspinall ever came on the picture, that he was retiring, that this was his last fight. And then Tom Aspinall wants to try to bait him into. Of course, I know there's a huge a payoff. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of generational wealth. I understand that, Tom, but you got to understand that John Jones has already fought 2 decades. He's already been a gladiator. He's a gladiator waiting to retire. You just came at the wrong spectrum. You need to be calling out some different people outside of him. You might not need to drop down a weight class, get some body fat off you. They have great hormones and different things they do for your genetic makeup, for your BMR today, so that they never did, when I was growing up. So you can get that weight off, no problem. Come down a division, fight somebody, and see who's up at your division. Hopefully the John Jones fight gets made, but if it doesn't, let's go ahead and see what Tom Aspinall has been saying.
He wanted Khalil was a crybaby because he gets emotional easily.
I looked and I pointed at Khalil and I was like, and if I see you guys going fucking Rountree, I know you're being a bunch of pussies because he's the softest guy on the mat. This man is a cunt. You guys have no concept who he is. If you met him, you would hate him.
Speaking at the UFC 307 Media Day, Khalil claimed that he met Strickland recently and he apologized for his comments.
Sean Strickland come up to me. He approached me and he just said, like, Khalil, I apologize. I'm a dumbass. I actually kind of like you. I think you're liberal, but overall, I like you or I respect you. Something along those lines.
Dana White reacts to Renato Moicano's brutal shoulder injury versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Dana White praised Renato Moicano for fighting Benoit Saint-Denis despite a nasty shoulder injury that he suffered 3 weeks before the fight. Dana said he would first let Moicano recover from the injury and then figure out what's next for him.
We won't talk about Moicano for a couple more weeks, first of all. I mean, you saw what happened to him, right? I mean, it's going to be a minute before he's even discussed. It was incredible what he was able to do with that injury, yeah.
Sean Strickland calls out the US government for attacking Iran. Can someone explain to me why we have to bomb Iran? Because they may one day have a nuke. Meanwhile, Rocketman North Korea is filled with nukes and threatens us daily. Alright, because North Korea isn't neighbors with Israel. My bad, lol.
Well, Khalil, how different does this fight week feel for you? Or does it feel different?
It doesn't feel too much different. I think the only thing that really feels different is being in a ballroom versus being at the Apex.
What about fight week? Did it feel, fight camp, did that feel different for you? Did you do anything special?
Yeah, special in different ways. I just think the energy of fight camp was a bit different. We finally got to start to prepare for a title fight. I think vibes were really high in training camp. A lot of smiles, a lot of good times, a lot of enjoying the preparation and, just positivity, really, yeah.
Talk to me about that moment you got the phone call.
Wow. I was having one of the roughest days of my life. I was in the middle of some legal stuff, and my phone rang, and it was the UFC. And they're like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And I said, "Terrible. What's going on?" And they're like, "Well, hope this makes your day a little bit better. You're going to be fighting Alex October 5th in Salt Lake City." And my day turned around within the matter of seconds. And Yeah, it was just
For him.
all smiles
Good for him.
from that moment on.
Good for you.
When you saw them calling, was
And
it
and
like that,
and
like, oh no, what's
and mind you, he's taking this on short notice. Okay, so he's not having a full training camp to prepare for this fight. Okay, it's on very short notice, but he took it anyway, like a man, like he's supposed to do. That they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be staying in shape.
what's wrong?
Yeah, I was like, come on, like this is the last thing that I was expecting. Going through what I was going through, and it was, it was gut wrenching, but it ended up being for the best. Yeah.
I know you've talked before about, people online, what people say online, haters and that sort of thing. And obviously there was some backlash after the announcement, but were you able to kind of spin it in a positive way? Almost like this is motivation, everyone's counting me out. Or did you not listen to it at all?
I didn't pay attention. I got no space.
Why should you pay attention? You're not a commentator. You're not putting out content. You're a fighter. Don't pay attention to this stupid shit. You know, you got your fan base. Pay attention to them, and get your adoration from the fan base, and then go in and fight.
I got no time for other people's opinions. I mean, like, look, I'm fighting for the title on Saturday, and as soon as I got the news, that was all that I've been focused on. So if it upsets people in this, like, it's none of my business. My business is to do, what the UFC called me to do. So everyone's going to have opinions even after this, but I can't let it be my concern.
I know, going back to you on the regional circuit and you fighting and just starting your career, I imagine you thought about this moment. Does it live up to the way you kind of imagined it all those years?
I didn't expect it happening the way that it did, right? It's crazy how everything unfolded. I would say I'm happy that I'm in the position that I'm in right now with this title fight coming up. What I mean is, like, I'm happy that I got this call and this opportunity, and I'm prepared for it, and I feel it. Like, it doesn't feel like a lucky thing, and I didn't have to scrounge and get ready. Like, I've been prepared for this. I've been saying it. I've been working for it, and now it's here.
What do you expect in there?
What do I expect in there?
Good for you, because that's how I expected my fighters to operate, just like this guy's operating. Stay in shape always. Always a few weeks away from a title fight. Always a few weeks away. Just always remember that. And then if you train like that and stay in that kind of condition, which isn't hard, you don't have to do a lot of hard sparring. You just got to do a lot of technical work, a lot of grinding. And if you stay in that position, you'll be ready when you're called.
I expect to become the champion, 100%.
How do you see yourself matching up against him? I know obviously you're going in with confidence, but what kind of fight are you expecting from him?
It's really hard to say. I'm not expecting a certain type of fight. I'm going in there focused. I'm going in there determined, aware. A lot of this camp and a lot of my coaching and mentorship and stuff is really just been about me and focusing on me. I can't get lost in the lights of everything else. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm prepared for it all.
Have you seen him this fight week at all?
Not yet.
Are you excited to see him for the first time?
Excited is not the word to use. But I know it's bound to happen. And when it does, I mean, it happens. It's not really like a feeling of excitement. It's like, it's inevitable. So when it happens, however I feel inside is how I feel.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil, other side. I don't know if you saw, but there was a clip going around yesterday of Anderson Silva in a media scrum in 2015 joking about how you knocked him out in training camp. And then he circled back and he said, I think you were 2-0 at the time, and he said that you were going to be a future champion. All the way back in 2015, he was saying this. So I know you've envisioned, like, getting the belt and everything, but do you just think of that time, too, and, like, people like Anderson have been calling you a future champ for 10 years at this point?
I think about those moments a lot, especially when those moments of doubt creep in, like self-doubt. I think we all deal with that a little bit, especially when we're going, after big things. And I remember that, people like Anderson have been saying this when I only had 2 fights. There was something that they saw being champions themselves, So, I think about it. I appreciate those moments. I love that they're out there and they're a part of my story, so that when I do become champion, it's just like it just all aligns,
What's it like when, because it's one thing to have your coach, your training partner say future champion, but have a guy like Anderson Silva say you're going to be a future champion at 2-0, 3-0. Did you feel pressure at some point? How do you compartmentalize a guy of that stature saying that to you so early in your career?
I don't think it was pressure that I felt. It was just love. When I met Anderson and when he took me in, and the relationship that we have and the relationship that we built and developed, it just feels good. Obviously he's done what he's done, and he's always going to be my all-time favorite fighter. I aspire to have a career like his. And he'll always be a huge source of inspiration for me, especially in the MMA world. But when I hear something like that from him, it just feels like love, he's treated me like a brother, like a little brother. And
Silva picked him as the champ.
So, yeah, man.
10 years ago.
That's the best
Very
I can
good
say,
choice,
yeah.
Anderson Silva.
And then,
and
just kind of looking at your story, because we've been covering you for so long, and you did your post-fight interview in the Apex, and you say you can use me, I don't want to run from this or hide from this, and then your countdown came out, and I bet there's a ton of new fans that had never seen you fight or didn't know your story or about your father and everything. Did you kind of see this bump up in not interest, but people reaching out to you that maybe had never seen you fight or didn't know your story? They were just they only watch pay-per-views and that's it, but now they've discovered who you are.
I think actually after my last fight with Anthony Smith,
the story of the champ,
there's been a big influx of new fans and people, and that's been really cool, and it's been really motivating.
Champ.
I mean, it's almost every day that I go somewhere now in Vegas, grocery store, mall, wherever I go.